So is there anything else we can help you with today, Jeff, before we go?
No, that's all of it now.
Great. What I'd like to do just before you go is you'll recall in your reception, the receptionist gave you a questionnaire to fill in.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to talk to you about that. She enters it in the computer, and I see from the way you filled it in, we at the moment, from a perspective of your health, would classify your physical activity as inactive.
What?
Inactive. So at the moment,
I'm
you're
not
really
inactive. I have a very busy life.
Perhaps what I could tell you is, look, at the moment, the current recommendation for health is that everybody should do 30 minutes of moderate exercise at least 5 days of the week. That's to benefit their health.
Athletes, you mean?
No, everybody.
Why? Why would I want to do that much?
What's really important is, particularly as somebody at your age, is you're really entering that age where we really need to think about heart disease, diabetes.
There's nothing wrong with my health.
And that's how we'd like to keep it, of course. And if you were to exercise at that level, what we know is you half your risk of getting heart disease, having high blood pressure, getting diabetes, gaining weight, etc. And of course, my concern is that you're healthy at the moment and we keep you there.
So what are you telling me?
Well, what we really need to discuss is how we can get you to be a bit more physically active, start moving this along a little bit.
I have a very busy life.
So you do a lot of things, but from where you fill this in, you really don't do enough physical activity to benefit your health.
Well, forgive me for disagreeing with you, but when you run a business like I do, I mean, I've got 200 people in my company. What are you saying? Do you think it's easy running a company like this? It's a bloody cheek, I think you've got, telling me I've got to... When am I supposed to take time to go? I don't want to go to the gym.
Imagine how running your company
I'm running around the factory all day long. You think that's not exercise?
No,
I'm not sitting at a desk like you.
I'm sure you're on the go all the time.
You know, I just... It's a bit much.
I understand that you're on the go all the time, but what's really important here is therefore that you protect your health. You know, imagine running your business if your health starts to deteriorate.
There's nothing wrong with my health.
And that's the way we'd like to keep it, of course.
Yeah.
And what I'm really concerned about is all men of your age and my age is our health now is at a point where it starts to, you know, we have to think about heart disease and things like diabetes. And one really good way of protecting ourselves is to be physically active.
Well, we're going around in circles here because I would say I am physically active. Well, what are you telling me I should do that I don't do?
Well, if you think about that recommendation, that's the equivalent, if you like, of walking 2 to 3 miles an hour a day at a fairly fast pace, or things equivalent to that. Not just being on the go, that's, you know, marching rather than strolling.
Mm-hmm. And when would you like me to do this? I mean, I'm at work at 6:30 in the morning. I often don't go home till 8 o'clock at night.
Well, ideally, this is something to do every day. This is kind of a minimum amount of physical activity.
Yeah, it can't be done.
Well, one of the things I should tell you about is that not doing this, so not doing much physical activity, does really increase this. One of the most important risk factors for heart disease, for some cancers, colon cancer that affects many men, and for elevated blood pressure, all the things that we see are getting common in men as they get older, start to become more risky if we avoid physical activity.
Yeah, well, you're just trying to scare me now, aren't you? I mean, I've got enough on my plate. I don't need all this.
It's a genuine concern, and obviously part of my job is to let you know about my concern and make sure you've got the right information to make decisions about your health. And this is one of the important things you can do.
Okay, well, I haven't got time to go walking every day, so what's the next best thing I can do?
Well, the good news is you don't have to do it all in one go. You could do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunchtime, and 10 minutes of an evening. That would still lead to important health benefits.
I see.
And you think, in the bigger scheme of things, is 30 minutes investment in your health worth it?
Well, if you put it like that, well, of course it is. I don't want to get sick, but I just don't think it's necessary. But I'm perfectly healthy. So why do you think it's so important?
Well, because the evidence tells us it really is an important risk factor, similar in the way that smoking is. We know now, obviously everyone takes it as a bit of a given, that smoking is not really a good thing to do for their health. And we're realising that physical activity is the same. Avoiding physical activity is as much of a risk to your health as smoking is.
Well, what else could I do?
Well, I'd like you to really give some thought to doing a good brisk walk in the mornings, every day, and again in the evenings.
And you're telling me walking around the factory is not enough?
Well, I suspect I don't know, of course, but I suspect it's not really the equivalent of a good march for 10 continuous minutes.
Well, can I ask you a personal question? Well, you say, you know, we're men of a similar age. How much exercise do you get?
Well, I try, like you. I've got a busy job and we're always on call, etc. But I do really try and fit in a good, strong walk every day.
Does that mean you do it every day?
Most days I do.
Well, if you could do it, I suppose I could do it.
I do really think it's very important for you.
You think it would make a big difference?
I think you'd be surprised how much difference it made.
Well, I'm not sure.
And indeed, when you're at work, I suspect, you know, it'll help with the energy you have for that busy job.
Well,
and in the long term, one way to think about it, it's a real investment in the future.
I'm not convinced.
Do you have family, Jeff?
Yes, I have family.
So you can imagine at some point in the future, you know, you don't want to be in a situation where you want to play with the grandchildren, for example, and you can't because you're simply unfit.
Yeah, well, my grandchildren live overseas, actually, so I don't get to see them that often.
But you see my point. You know,
I see your point. I'm not stupid.
You don't want your lack of fitness to start determining how you behave when you know.
No, of course not. I used to play golf, but I don't have the time these days.
So you have been fitter?
Well, I was younger.
Yeah. So do you think that's something you could do again?
No.
Yeah, because you know it is a popular pastime, and it of course includes lots of
rubbish
walking.
at it. No, but walking's a different matter. I could walk more, but is it really true? Walking could make a difference.
Yeah, so if you do it briskly, this is.
I do everything briskly.
Yeah, well, walking briskly does lead to very substantial health benefits.
Yeah, and well, I'll try it.
When do you think you could do something?
When?
Because these things, you can imagine, they're easy to agree to, and then we meet again in a few weeks' time. And
well, I'll tell you what I'll do then. Okay, you've been straight with me. I'll be straight with you. Instead of driving to work, I'll walk to work. That will take me 15 minutes.
That would be fantastic.
I'll try it. Well, I'll get my chauffeur to take me home.
Okay. So deal then. When would you start doing that, do you think?
I could do it tomorrow.
Okay. So deal then. You're going to do 15 minutes of brisk walking a day. Give it a try.
Yeah, but if I don't feel any different after a month, I won't bother anymore, because to be frank, it's an inconvenience, but I'll do it for you.
Well, why don't you and I meet again in a month, take stock, and you can tell me what you found out.
Yeah.
And then we'll have another chat about it then.
Okay, all right, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right, fair enough.
Thanks, Jeff.
See you again.
See you in a month.